because for one, I beat my case. When you beat something, you beat it.
R. Kelly once spoke with confidence about beating the allegations against him. He seemed certain that he would walk away without consequences. So when a jury ultimately found him guilty and handed down a 30-year sentence, it marked a dramatic shift from the narrative he had projected for years. What has emerged since then has added even more complexity to a story that many people once believed was already fully understood. This case never truly felt closed. In early 2002, the Chicago Sun-Times received an anonymous package in the mail. Inside was a videotape. When the publication reported on it, the contents immediately sent shockwaves through both the music industry and the public. The tape allegedly showed R. Kelly, one of the biggest figures in R&B at the time, engaged in sexual acts with a girl who appeared to be underage. Among the acts described was one that would become central to the controversy. Kelly denied that the man in the video was him. Not long after, in June 2002, he was indicted on multiple counts related to child pornography. He was arrested in Miami and released on a substantial bail. What followed became one of the most closely watched celebrity legal battles of the 2000s. For years, the case moved slowly through the legal system, building anticipation and attention. When the trial finally concluded in 2008, the outcome surprised many observers. Despite the seriousness of the allegations, Kelly was acquitted of all remaining charges. The reason behind that verdict has remained a focal point of discussion ever since. The individual believed to be the girl in the video did not testify that she was the person shown. In court, she remained anonymous, identified only as Jane Doe. Without that confirmation, the jury could not establish beyond a reasonable doubt that the individual in the video was a minor. That gap in certainty proved decisive. Kelly walked free, and the case entered a strange and uncomfortable space. It was not resolved in the minds of many people, yet legally it was closed.
What did you have to go through to get to this point to be vocal and identify yourself?
For years, it lingered as a story surrounded by questions, speculation, and silence. At the center of it all was a young girl whose identity remained hidden from the public. Her name is Ronna Landfair. She was just 14 years old at the time the tape was made. Growing up in Chicago, she had connections to the music.
It took a lot of prayer. It took a lot of forgiveness of myself, the people around me, and just really confronting who I really was.
Music world and aspirations of her own. One of her relatives, known professionally as Sparkle, had worked with R. Kelly during the 1990s. Through those connections, Landfair entered Kelly's world at a young age. At that time, Kelly's status was almost untouchable. He had sold tens of millions of records, won major awards, and created songs that defined an era. Tracks like I Believe I Can Fly, Ignition, Remix, and Bump and Grind were not just hits, they were cultural staples. For a young aspiring singer, being in proximity to someone like R. Kelly did not feel like danger, it felt like opportunity. But that perception would change. Years later, Landfair would explain what led her to finally speak publicly about her experience. She described how the decision came after a long period of reflection. More than anything, she wanted to reclaim her own narrative and ensure that the truth was told in her own words. For decades, her story had been told by others, lawyers, journalists, and filmmakers. Now, she chose to speak for herself. Her account provides insight not only into what happened, but also into why the original trial unfolded the way it did. It sheds light on the environment she was in, the dynamics of power at play, and the reasons her voice was not heard when it mattered most. To understand how everything unfolded, it is necessary to look at the context surrounding those events. In the 1990s, R. Kelly was more than just a successful artist. Within Chicago's music scene, he was a powerful and influential figure. His presence extended beyond concerts and recordings. He was involved in community spaces, churches, talent shows, and local studios. He was someone people trusted, someone who felt familiar. That proximity mattered. He was not seen as a distant celebrity, but as someone connected to the same community as many of the people around him. That sense of familiarity created an environment where trust came easily. When a young girl with dreams of a music career encountered someone like him, it did not raise immediate concerns. Instead, it felt like a chance, something meaningful and rare. Landfair's introduction to Kelly happened within that environment. Moments like these are often described in discussions about grooming behavior. Experts explain that such situations frequently begin with something the young person values deeply. The individual in a position of power identifies that desire and positions themselves as the one who can fulfill it. Over time, that dynamic can create a sense of dependency. According to Landfair's later accounts, what began as attention and encouragement gradually shifted into something more personal. She described how she was made to feel seen and valued in a way that stood out from everyone else around her. The change did not...
My son was the biggest reason I decided to write the book. You know, nobody is more qualified to speak on my experience more than I am.
Not happen suddenly. It happened in small steps. Each moment built on the one before it, making it difficult to recognize the overall pattern while it was unfolding. By the time the situation became clearly inappropriate, the emotional and social connections were already deeply established. This gradual progression is what makes such situations so difficult to identify from the inside. At the same time, the influence surrounding Kelly played a role in how others responded. People who were aware of his status and success often found ways to rationalize what they were seeing. This kind of collective denial is not unique to this case. It appears in many situations involving powerful individuals. The impact of that denial can be significant. By the time the tape was recorded, Landfair had already been part of that environment for some time. According to her later statements, the tape itself was not an isolated incident. It reflected a broader pattern within the space she was in. Looking back, she has described aspects of that experience that she did not fully understand at the time. Certain details only became clear to her years later as an adult. The tape itself became widely known long before she ever saw it in full. By the time she eventually viewed it in a courtroom setting, it had already circulated publicly. What had been a private and deeply personal experience was now something widely discussed and consumed. The legal proceedings that followed brought these issues into a public forum, but they also revealed the limitations of the system. When the trial took place, Landfair was still dealing with the long-term impact of what had happened. She was navigating feelings of fear, shame, and pressure, factors that made speaking openly in court incredibly difficult. Her decision not to identify herself at that time played a crucial role in the outcome of the case. Without that confirmation, the prosecution could not meet the burden of proof required for a conviction. As a result, the case ended in acquittal, even as many questions remained unanswered. That moment did not represent closure. Instead, it marked the beginning of a long period of silence.